Okay, well, I'll go ahead and get started. I'll try to get y'all out of here on time because I can talk forever. So, Lily, Bethany, if I can get to rambling, you'll just tell me to be quiet. I'll move on. So obviously, I'm Matthew March. I'm the AgriLife agent for Waller County. So I cover all of Waller County. So, how many of y'all are really familiar with AgriLife? It worked a lot with. There are quite a few of y'all with me. So my talk today is going to be kind of a little bit of what AgriLife is as an agency, as far as how it's set up and what we can provide, and then a little bit about what we actually do here in Waller County. So even if y'all aren't in Waller County, every county does a little bit something different, just because every agent kind of makes their county their own. But a lot of what we'll talk about will be similar across counties. So AgriLife is unique, as we're the only state agency, at least this is what I've always been told, no one's ever corrected me. We're the only state agency that doesn't give out money, and we don't make a law, or we don't enforce it. We're strictly educational. So that's just something to keep in mind, because we do get a lot of calls sometimes about, you know, maybe some issue they're having with their neighbor spraying something, or their cows are doing something. We don't enforce any kind of laws. Or we get a lot of calls. They think we're the ones that give out funding, like we're the USDA or FSA, and we don't do that either. So we'll go ahead and get started. So in case you didn't know where AgriLife actually fits into the whole spectrum, I guess, of state agencies, I always like to show this slide. So AgriLife is part of the A&M University, but there's a kind of a caveat there. We're part of the system. We're actually not underneath the university. So a lot of people get that confused. They just see the AgriLife extension or Texas A&M AgriLife extension, and they think we're actually part of the university. So my boss's boss does not answer to the president of the university. They answer directly to the chancellor of the system. So within the A&M University system, you actually have 11 different universities. Obviously, you got the mothership up there in College Station, but you got a bunch of other universities across the state. I mean, it seems like we're adding a new one every day to the system, so I can't even keep up. I think we now have A&M Victoria has been the most recent addition. I think it used to be U of H Victoria, but there's 8 state agencies underneath the A&M University system. So you can see AgriLife's just one of those agencies. Other ones that y'all might, so AgriLife Extension and AgriLife Research are actually 2 different state agencies. The research is obviously centered more up at College Station or at the research stations actually doing the studies, and Extension is more to get the word out on the studies. And I'll talk about more of that here in a minute. The other one that I want to point out is you'll see, well, 2 of them. The first thing you'll see, most of them have Texas A&M in. So until about 4 or 5 years ago, it was when I was working in East Texas, the Forest Service used to just be Texas Forest Service. It's always been underneath the A&M system. Well, the powers that be determined that needed to be noted, that everyone knew that was part of the A&M system. So the Forest Service is now the Texas A&M Forest Service. So if you want to make any foresters mad, most of them went to SFA. Tell them that they work for the Texas A&M Forest Service. It's still a sore point for them, because I actually was talking to one yesterday, and I noticed he refused to say that. He just kept calling it the Texas Forest Service. The other one that a lot of people don't know, and this started after Hurricane Harvey, TDEM, or the Texas Division of Emergency Management, used to be under DPS. Again, the powers that be determined that A&M, or the A&M University system, was grand, and we were the only agency that had someone in every county in the state. So they actually moved emergency management over underneath the A&M system. I believe they're actually based out of College Station now on Riverside campus, is actually where their state office is at. So if any of y'all ever seen a press conference with the governor or some high state officials, or if there's a hurricane coming in and they're telling you what to do, and you're wondering why the heck is there an A&M University system flag behind Avid, that's the reason why, because emergency management is now underneath the A&M University system. which makes my job fun because then anytime there's an emergency, they like extension agents to go do something about it. So the A&M University system, or the AgriLife extension is part of the land grant university system. So this goes all the way back to 1862 with the Morrill Act. And basically, the Morrill Act was used to say, we're going to establish these universities to study engineering and agriculture, to get those facts out to the public, because at the time that was what the federal government said we really needed to have across the states. So every state has one land grant university. So LSU is for Louisiana, Oklahoma State's for Oklahoma, Penn State's for Pennsylvania. You can go on and on the list. So that the Morrill Act established A&M in 1862 as part of the land grant university system. So part of that money actually comes through USDA and stuff. So that's why a lot of what we do, we report that our numbers back to USDA, but that's a side note. Where was I going with this? The Morrill Act of 1819 helped establish Prairie View A&M. I'll talk about that here in a minute. I remember now. So the land grant university systems were for agriculture and mechanical. So for some of y'all might not know this, Texas A&M used to not be Texas A&M. It used to be Texas College of Agricultural and Mechanical. So that's where the A&M comes from. Hatch Act was established in 1887. And the thought process behind that was to establish experiment stations because, in the late 1800s, we all didn't have a computer or a phone in our pocket where we could just Google what we wanted done or pull up a document or whatever. So if you're a state as big as Texas, how is someone out in El Paso or up in Amarillo learning about research that's going on in College Station? So the Hatch Act established 12 different experiment stations throughout Texas. And the Hatch Act, these are all federal acts. This isn't state legislature. Then the Lever Act came along in 1914. Because then we said, well, that's great. We got these experiment stations, but there's only a few of them across the state. We're still not doing a good way of getting the information out. So the Lever Act basically established your extension services in each state. And that was a way to get the information out. So the way all your land grant university systems work is you have the university that teaches the kids or teaches the students. Then the thought process is, and they go on to be grad students or whatever, and then they do research with the Hatch Act, and then the Extension Service disseminates that information. So that's how, if y'all ever wondered how the land grant university systems are set up, that's again, just kind of more of a representation, a picture of how A&M is kind of set up. So you got the A&M system, then you have Texas A&M AgriLife, and then under it you have the research, extension, the Forest Service, and TVMLDA, which is the vet lab up in College Station. They also have a vet lab in East Texas, Gonzales, and the Panhandle. One in East Texas and Gonzales is chickens. The one up in the Panhandle is for pigs. But you can also see the College of Ag is kind of connected with the university and us. So we all kind of work together, but differently. So the Morrill Act of 1819 locally helped us establish Prairie View A&M. So I bring that up because obviously here in Waller County, we're home to Prairie View. So that was established to help reach minorities or historically Black college or universities. So that's where Prairie View came along, and then they have their own other thing. They had a second Morrill Act to that to get them more funding and to help with research. And then so there's actually two different extension agencies in the state. There's actually a Prairie View extension used to be called Cooperative Extension. They just now recently changed it to Prairie View A&M Extension Service. So we work together, but we also have different goals and we reach different clienteles. But at the end of the day, it's really the same mission. There is some different caveats there. So again, Prairie View A&M is part of the system, and then they have their own extension agency underneath it. It should be noted, obviously, every state has its own form of extension. Most states just call it the Extension Service, but here in Texas, for whatever reason, we decided to call it AgriLife. So we like to do things differently. Here's a map of where all the extension offices are in the state. Like I said, we're in all 254 counties in the state, so we're here. Extension serves all clientele in Texas, basically. Now, the blue dots on there, that's going to be your research station. So the closest ones to us is Beaumont. That's mostly rice, and they got a big research station down in Corpus and Uvalde. There is some sub-research stations throughout the state, but that's the big ones, blue dots. But if you were to actually count all these little gray dots on there that represent each county office, there's actually not 254 of them, because there's a few counties out in kind of this part of the state where there ain't but about 300 people in the county, and all they grow is cotton. So they got like they have some agents that cover 2 counties out there, basically. But that's not the case down here, where there might be less people, but those counties literally take a day to drive across them. So they got one agent in each one of those big counties out in West Texas. We're still representing every county. This is where you got Prairie View agents at. So their agency isn't as big, but you can see that they're in most of the major urban areas, and then a lot of in East Texas and down in South Texas. Kind of correlates to the counties that have higher minority. Obviously, we have in our office. So in our office here in Waller County, we have 7 agents in the office. We have 4 Prairie View agents and then 3 AgriLife agents, and we each cover a different subject area. So when you're looking, AgriLife's really complicated. If y'all didn't know, we're actually partly funded by the state, and we're partially funded by the county commissioners. So it's actually, that's where the word cooperative comes into. If you see that word thrown around a lot with extension. So me personally, about 60% of my salary comes from the state, 40% roughly comes from the county, and all my travel funds and any kind of money to do my job comes from either volunteer organizations in the county or from the county commissioners courts itself. So where I'm going with that is there's a lot. The county commission, AgriLife has the way it likes to fill offices as far as what agents are there, but the county commissioners have quite a bit of say in that also, because obviously they're helping foot the bill. But either way, this is kind of the standard of how offices are set up. Every county is going to have an ag and natural resource agent, which is what my role is. Obviously, we work mostly with the landowners and deal in the ag and wildlife realm. You have, then after that, most counties, if they're going to have a second agent, they're going to have a family consumer health agent or FCH. So they're dealing with nutrition and health. Then if you're going to have a third agent, you're either going to have a 4-H agent that deals directly with just youth projects and livestock projects, the whole 4-H program. And then some counties have a horticulture agent. We do not have a horticulture agent here in Waller County. I am the de facto horticulture agent since I'm the ag agent. But most of your bigger urban counties have a horticulture agent. And then some of your counties down in the valley, Fredericksburg, where they got the wine stuff, they have a horticulture agent. So some of your counties that are bigger in horticulture, even though I will argue that we could use a horticulture agent because horticulture is actually the #1 agricultural crop in Waller County from an economic standpoint. So, and I'm not talking about like people mowing lawns and landscapers. We have several big nurseries in the county. They're pretty big money. And then as you go further down, Prairie View actually has what they call some economic and community development agents. AgriLife doesn't have those type of agents. And then every coastal county has a marine agent. So that's kind of your different roles. I put this up here though, because as a landowner, when you're working with landowners, with the agencies you represent, we all work together. And a lot of these agents you might say, well, the ag agent's the only one that I can really work with. Well, a good example is a lot of ag and FCH agents might partner together to do a beef program, or maybe they'll beef cattle and grazing is what the topic is, but the FCH agent will come in and do a beef nutrition during that, like how to cook a steak and stuff. So we all work together. That's me, obviously. I got my contact information, so I'll bring that up later. But I guess for more today, how can extension help you as a landowner? Um, like I said, every county is going to be different, but they all kind of follow the same similar format. So we're going to talk about this and then what I kind of do here in Waller County. So our biggest thing is educational programming, obviously, is to get the education out there. Each agent has to do like an in-depth program area at a minimum of 2. I have 3 here in Waller County. We have beef and forage, wildlife, habitat improvement, and commercial horticulture. So that's where most of my educational programs focus at. We do result demonstrations, and I'll talk about more of those in a minute. But those are basically research projects, volunteer management. I am the volunteer coordinator. We have, I just pulled this number up yesterday. How many volunteer? We had like 12,000 volunteer hours last year and a half or something along those lines. We have a lot of volunteers. We get no money from the state or from the county really to do our programming. Extension relies heavily on volunteers. So if y'all are working with landowners and they want something done, let's say they're having a problem with the brush species or something, a lot of times you can work with the extension office. They'll, if they're going to volunteer their land and resource, maybe the agent will come out and help them. Because like I said, we don't have money for nothing. We depend solely on volunteers because our budget is almost 95% just salary and benefits. So there's no extra budget in extension for anything other than salary. Which makes it interesting when they have to do budget cuts because they can't just say like, well, we'll get rid of the truck. It's usually goes straight to positions. But and then we do a lot of one-on-one contacts. So that's people that just walk into the office. Like I said, beef and forage. Harvey, you're in here somewhere. Yeah, there you are, right there. So we do beef and forage educational program. A lot of times we partner up with landowners, so looking at weed sash management, showing them how to set up, do individual plant treatment methods with the 4-wheeler there. Wildlife and habitat improvement. So this was down at Twinwood Farms down there south of Brookshire where they did some deer stuff. So setting up feral hog traps, food plots, stuff like that. Wildlife and habitat improvement. Bethany and I have partnered with stuff out here at Indiangrass Preserve. Always promote prescribed fire. There was another slide. Okay. So commercial horticulture. We go out to, that's Neil's Berry Farm up in Hockley there on the left. We do a big turf grass program, probably not too related to what y'all are wanting to do here today. Result demonstrations. So this is the other part after educational programs is doing these result demonstrations. So basically and this is where we can work with landowners a lot, is a lot of times it's not really a research project that we don't know the result already, but it's a way for us to show what the results we want to see to where landowners can see it. Does that make sense? We usually kind of expect what the result is going to be, but we still kind of do it like it's a research project. So that's we did a fertilizer in the garden there on the left. This was when I was in East Texas on the right. We were doing a food plot trial in preference, whitetail deer preference. So we fenced off certain areas and then compared that to the areas where the deer could eat. She had way too many deer, so they pretty much wiped out the whole food plot in like 2 weeks. But I mean, you can see there's nothing out there. It's a type of storage PM. So currently in Waller County, we have a fertilizer demonstration going on. We have the Texas Superstar trial, which is where we're testing different ornamentals. Again, probably not too related today. We have this rice delphacid and rice kernel smut scouting. Those both are 2 emerging pests in rice, especially the delphacid. They think Hurricane Beryl kind of brought it up here and spread it out. It's pretty devastating. And then greenbrier control down at the Brazos River bottom and pasture systems. And you can see some past ones we've done is prescribed fire, pond management, pond control, so on and so forth. Y'all wouldn't know this, but this is out at Nelson's rice farm here, just right down the road. Last year, we were scouting for rice kernel smut, and brought a researcher up from A&M, and we found plenty of it out there. So we talked about volunteer management. So we do have Waller County Master Gardeners. Some counties have master naturalists, just kind of depends, but they do a lot of stuff, and ours here locally promotes a lot of natives. Most of them are pretty big into pollinators, so they do a lot of stuff with that, working with schools to plant pollinator gardens and so on and so forth. They do a junior master summer camp. One-on-one contacts is probably where we do a lot of work. I could go on for it. It could. Good example would be today. I had a call about screwworms. So that's a emerging issue. Last week, I got yelled at because I would not justify why the guy's soil was pitiful, and he wanted to blame the farmer for the way he managed it for the last 40 years. I won't say who it was because he's about 2 miles up the road. But we went back and forth, showed him a soil map, and he did not believe the soil map from USDA. And he said, why can TxDOT's right away along 362, why has it got 5-foot ryegrass, and why does my pasture have nothing? Well, because it's the right of way that's got ryegrass. Well, you're telling me the soil is different over there than what the soil is in my pasture? Well, yeah, they built a road there. I knows where the soil came from. We went, but I mean, it's just we get all sorts of things, but we help everyone. So we provide them with the education, and if we can't provide them, if we don't know the answer, I say we. If I don't know the answer in office, we do have a group of specialists across the state in every subject area, and we have specialists anything from rainwater catchment to manure management to home gardening. I mean, we got a specialist for everything, so we can tap into that network. And then obviously, I work with the Soil Board, USDA, and a lot of other local resources there. I got to help landowners or help y'all, the people y'all work with. So these are probably, I don't know how many it is, but these are probably the most common assistant questions I get or things I help with. And I can go do site visits, and I'm probably not the best about it. I don't know, maybe when I was first started, I probably did more site visits just to get to know people and get around. But a lot of times I can solve your issue without coming to do a site visit. So if I can, I'll do that just for time's sake. But I do site visits when there's an issue that's, we can't solve, or maybe it's more in depth. I mean, I'll go out and we'll go help landowners that they just brought a piece of property and they don't know what to do. I'll literally go walk through the property and say, well, sorry, the realtor told you that you could have 10 cows, 2 horses, and a blueberry orchard on 5 acres, but that's just not going to work. So let's focus on one thing for now. We get a lot of those too. But some of the, like I said, weed IDs, one I get a lot, or just plant ID, herbicide selection, soil testing and fertilizer recommendations, especially in this county since the appraisal district retires when to do soil testing so often. Like I said, I purchased land. Now what do I do with it? I feel like that's a question you should ask before you purchase land, but we get that a lot in the office. Ponds, not so much in this county, just because we don't have as many ponds. On the north side we do, but in the counties that have a lot of ponds, extension agents get just absolutely hammered with pond questions, especially during summertime. Plant recommendations: what should I plant in my yard? What kind of wood tree should I plant? I want to do native plants. What kind of native plant should I plant? We get a lot of questions about tree decline. One of my favorite tree questions I get, and they're not all bad, I make them sound but it never ceases. Every fall comes about the end of September, especially if we're in a drought, but really into October, is why is my tree dying? Okay, well, send me some pictures of your tree. It's an oak tree and it's losing its leaves. Yeah. I get one or two of those every year. Lawn issues are a big one, especially as we get more people out here, unfortunately. And then gardening, I get a lot of gardening questions, especially from well, not only in the new subdivisions, but in the new subdivisions also, y'all know they tend to dig a giant hole and put the worst soil on top, and they want to know why they can't grow a garden. Are new or unknown issues. So a lot of times people just see something new in their place and they want to know what to do with it. But what we can't do with extension is we can't recommend a product or company. Obviously, we're supposed to be unbiased. But that can be difficult because, like right now, we have mealybug, which is a new pasture pest, and there's some products that work, but they're off label, so it's kind of don't recommend it. But if they really want to know what will kill it, go ahead and tell them to do this. I won't
They're working on getting them approved.
Yeah, they are.
Summer.
They are. Hopefully, we'll start having some better products there. Yeah, so mealybug is another new pest. They really don't know where it came from, but it's not only in Bermuda and Bahia grass, but yeah, they showed a list of every plant they found in Texas: little blue stem, big blue stem, all your bromas, switchgrass. I mean, it's in everything, and it'll straight up kill pasture out. Manage your pond. I won't do that. I won't help you with your ag evaluation. I will tell you what you can maybe do if you want cattle or hay or wildlife or whatever evaluation, but I'm not gonna tell you how to fill out your ag appraisal. We get asked this a lot to be a witness or to try to do a statement for a legal case. And usually they try to trap you into that and they don't tell you that until you're out there and then the lawyer's standing right there. Remove your honeybees. We'll get that a lot. Express my opinion to a neighbor. Again, I had one of those the other day. Neighbor sprayed. All right, so y'all know tallow very well, right? So for y'all, I'm sure most of y'all know this, but tallow, and bee people absolutely love Chinese tallow. Apparently, it makes the best honey ever. Which I've had tallow. It's good. I had a lady call and she wants to know where our tallow tree. She sent me pictures. Her neighbor killed the tallow in his pasture and it drifted over onto her fence line, and she wanted me to really call the neighbor and tell him what he did wrong. And I said, I'm not getting in between that. And I'm not going to manage your property. So I'll provide recommendations and help you along the way, but I'm not going to come out there every week. We're getting late, so I'll just fly through these real quick, but different flyers. So we do a South Central Texas Ag Conference. Here's more pictures out at Harvey's place. That was the South Central Texas Ag Conference. We do a beef and forage dinner. We do help those folks that want to get their applicators licensed to sell restricted products. We do a big forage day up at Thomas Ranch up in Grimes County outside of Richards or Anderson. So we do call people around and we show them different demonstrations. Soil board's big with helping with that one. There's a big beef program, cow-calf clinic over in Brenham, and it's not all beef. We've done Anchors in Action out here at the Indiangrass Preserve. That was when I first got started in Waller County. Here's some pictures of it here. Bethany, I don't know if you're in any of them here.
No, that's it.
Is that's right, you were one. That's right, Alex was helping. Pond management. This is we actually went over to Sandhill Farms and looked at their ponds out there. Pick your own, so we do a bunch of horticulture stuff. That's the Superstar trial down in Brookwood. So if y'all ever want to, I know y'all are all native, but in case you want to know what ornamental grows, there is some. I'm sure
some natives there.
Yeah, but I don't know if we have any natives in this. The Superstar trial down in Brookwood is basically these commercial growers have these new plants that they want to basically see if they're going to grow here, and they can have the Superstar label. So we literally got like 1,000 plants planted down there right now in beds and pots. So we're evaluating them.
What is that thing?
This thing?
It says it's
Fantastic dark blue.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know.
It obviously has some name other than it came
Harvey,
from.
if it was a native flower, I could probably maybe tell you, but I'm lost with this one.
Yeah.
In fact, when we did the program the other day or last year, where we had to let the public come out, my partner in Harris County, she was supposed to be there but she forgot it was her 40th, or not her 40th. It was her 5th year wedding anniversary that day. I don't know why I said. And so they had planned a big trip. Either way, she was supposed to talk about all these flowers, and she had made the presentation. I didn't know any of these names. I was up till like midnight that night trying to learn how to pronounce all these ornamental names. I was nervous. Last thing I wanted to show y'all is I'm trying to put together for 4 or so rice farmers and grain farmers left in the county a little farmer appreciation breakfast in a couple of weeks. I am also inviting I gotta invite everyone, but I am also inviting the landowners and people that are part of that. So I wanted to show y'all in case y'all want to come. It's
Is
technically,
this the first time you've done this?
yes.
I have this on my phone. I was gonna ask you if you've gotten good results.
I've had a few people sign up, but I mean, and the people that I want to come, they're just gonna show up. So, but I've let David know, so. But if y'all want to come to the CPC, y'all are more than welcome to, since y'all have rice land, so and crop lands.
Just people in Waller?
No, any Waller, no, anybody. They don't have to grow crops at all.
Like David Nelson, who does grow in both areas.
Yeah.
Dave will.
Welch, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I knew you said David.
Yeah, no, he's more than welcome. I texted him the flyer. You know. All right, and that's my information. So, y'all got any questions?
It's great.
So how much do you work with, say, Prairie View A&M?
We work with them quite a bit. It just kind of depends on if we have a program that matches up to with most of us. So it's hard. I mean, we do programs together, but we also do programs apart. Obviously, we work in the same office with 4 other Prairie View agents in this county. So there's another Prairie View ag agent, and his specialty is Douglas Stedman's his name. His specialty is like small vegetable production and honeybees. So if I get a honeybee question for sure, I just send it over. He knows way more about bees. The difficulty sometimes comes up with working with Prairie View is because of how they were established and what their goal is to basically reach minorities and underserved people. They are not allowed to charge money at their programs. But we have, on the AgriLife side, we have to charge money or at least get sponsorship, because if we're going to provide a meal for 100 people, well, that's $500 right there between donuts, coffee, catered lunch. So there's a difficulty there, because if Prairie View is going to be a part of it, to charge money, and then you can't sit at the door and say one person, well, you're allowed to come in for free because of who you are, and you know, so there's some difficulty there.
Coastal Prairie Master Naturalists can come to your event, right?
Yeah, anyone's welcome. I mean, we don't turn anyone down. Yeah, anyone's welcome at any extension. Or you just want to learn, or just interested in the topic.
A lot of your stuff is on your website too, so people will.
Yeah, so
You use your high school picture?
a little.
Like,
It's just-
That was only 4 years ago.
boy, they've been mean to you.
Extension's wrong.
That's what happens when you move to Waller County.
Oh.
Check. It's.
Yeah.
I was gonna pull up the website.
Here,
I would use Chrome.
I can do that.
I was thinking I needed to change that picture.
My picture's also 5 years old. Surely it'll come for us all, huh?
Yeah, so if you Google Waller AgriLife Extension, it should come up. They don't allow us to, it's kind of.
Sorry, I was trying to.
Yeah, sure. We've been in the process of, AgriLife as a whole has been trying to update the websites. So a lot of times when you just Google AgriLife Extension, it'll just take you like to the big website, then you kind of got to find Waller County. But if you just Google Waller County AgriLife Extension, it should come up. We're trying to keep it updated, so there is. It's not your fault. There is, if you scroll down to here, there is upcoming programs. So see, we have our community and economic agents doing a home ownership program next week. in Prairie View, I believe. So,
It's on there.
yeah, so you click on it. If it works right, I know it worked right tonight. Cause they've been having real trouble with the websites to where like links don't work and it's been like, they've been working on it. They had like, they did some analysis, and so for years it was like everyone just did their own thing. And there was like 1,500 different websites associated with AgriLife across the internet that they could find. Yeah, and a lot of them were old and outdated, and the employees been retired for 20 years and stuff like that, so yeah.
Matthew was gonna ask about partnering, like you've been great about partnering with us on events, workshops, brainstorming different ideas, but sometimes it feels like AgriLife agents just want to do their thing. Aren't so keen on like bringing in nonprofit or other agency partners.
Yeah, it's kind of hard sometimes because different agents have different goals or different things they might, different areas of interest, so they might think, yeah, it can be difficult sometimes. So I guess the biggest thing, and this would be hard for y'all as a nonprofit, but most agents aren't going to turn around any kind of financial incentive at their program. So if y'all wanted to say, hey, we'll bring the donuts or we'll supply the coffee, that would be a way for y'all to probably get into the door at programs. That wouldn't be a huge deal, out of y'all's pocket, because, and I know it's gonna be hard sometimes, and they ask us to do so many things that it's hard for us to make the partnership sometimes and move from there, so. We literally wear 1,000 hats.
Well, we appreciate
I think the nice thing is having recorded this, we'll be able to put it up on our website as well. So a lot more people will be able to get this in the movies and what we can do in the newsletter. This really was a lot of good information that you guys present. So it'd be great for landowners and people to know more. Sorry.
I put it on the stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that wraps up our, sit down, talk presentation. I know Bethany, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about the Welcome Center renovation, but feel free to look at the display cases. Please take more food way out. Welcome to Walk Mountain Trails, but this is kind of our wrap up. So thank you so much for coming out and joining us today.
Ryan was going to talk about one more thing.
Yeah, well, actually, another thing popped up too, but thank you, Miriam. So coming up, I think June, whatever Monday is, the 22nd. I think the Galveston Estuary Program will be putting out their request for proposals for projects through their different subcommittees. I'm on the Water and Sediment Quality. I'm the chair of the Water and Sediment Quality Subcommittee, and so our projects focus on water quality improvement stuff. It's not limited to, you can do like habitat improvement and other things that we know will benefit water quality. So there's that. And then I know it's not really in the neighborhood, but in Lamar on July 1st is a Texas riparian and stream ecosystem workshop. That's a program actually we fund through Extension and Water Resources Institute. But that'll be down at the Carbide Park on Highland Bayou in Lamar on July 1st. And it starts, I believe, at 8 in the morning, and lunch is provided by the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District. So if there's that, and then actually there's another one, and I just got the notice for today. It'll be August 24th, and it'll be in Mont Belvieu for cotton biting, but it'll be a riparian workshop. But these riparian workshops kind of give everybody an idea of how to manage a riparian area, and it talks about just more of the natural management and how riparian areas help prevent flooding and filter pollutants and other benefits we have of that. And there's all kind of experts there. I think there's some plant identification because there's a riparian walk. There's also some tips on feral hog management and riparian management itself and everything, so there's just a couple of opportunities. I can forward to all that information.
Why? Any details?
Right, if you don't know, Bethany and Jenny and Pete all worked on the Give Back grant and we got pretty good research. We also get a lot of conservation assistance program money, due diligence for all of our projects. But it's a really wonderful program. Great communities. So thank you for sharing that. All those great subcommittees.
I think a lot of this work, it takes partners, and that's what I try to encourage is talk to people and partner with people and because you can't, I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, people might not know about this program, but they know about this program, but maybe you can combine them and combine those efforts. I really just encourage you to get out, visit with people, see what they're doing, see how maybe you can cross pollinate with what they're doing and
Thank you.